Hello everyone, I am Rashmi Arora, Assistant Professor Pharmacology. Welcomes you all again on the YouTube channel of Chameli Devi Institute of Pharmacy. And today we are going up to finish the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents part 3. So we were talking about in the past part about the aspirin and paracetamol. Today we will discuss how the aspirins are responsible for generation of lipoxins. For before that, we must know what are lipoxins. Lipoxins are basically the anti-inflammatory mediators, and during inflammation, the cells, as we know, they die by various methods. One of this is apoptosis, and lipoxins, they signal the macrophages to clean up the whole mashup created by the dead cells. During the acute inflammation process, the cytokine, which is a pro-inflammatory mediator, induces the expression of other mediators like lipoxins and interleukins 4, which promote the resolution phase of inflammation. This is how the aspirin helps in generating the lipoxins. And arachidonic acid, in the presence of cyclooxygenase 2 enzyme, convert into HETE, and aspirin acts on the pathway. However, it blocks the cyclooxygenase pathway non-selectively, and it convert in the presence of lipooxygenase, arachidonic acid in the neutrophils gets converted into paramorphonuclear cells, converted into leukotriene A4, and this leukotriene A4 results in the generation of LXA4, and this is how in the endothelium lipoxins are generated. Now, how lipoxins have the effect on the whole system. Lipoxins on endothelium inhibits the p-selectin mobilization. They attenuate the CD11 and CD18, which is a cellular differentiation 11 and 18 expression, and antagonizes at the cysteine LT1 receptors. On mesangial cells, they inhibit the proliferation, chemotaxis, contractility, and adhesion. And in polymorphonuclear cells, which we have seen in the previous slide, they inhibit the chemotaxis, adhesion, transmigration, also inhibit the cytokine stimulated interleukin 1 beta, superoxide production. They inhibit the L-selectin shedding and stimulate the interleukin 4 production. On gastrointestinal epithelial cells, they inhibit the cytokine and pathogen stimulated interleukin 8 release. And if we talk about on the action of monocytes, on the monocytes they stimulate the chemotaxis and adhesion. In macrophages they stimulate the phagocytosis process of apoptotic bodies. And in fibroblasts they inhibit the interleukin 1 beta stimulation, interleukin 6 and interleukin 8 production. Basically they decrease the membrane protein 3 expression and increase the other protein expressions on the surface membrane. And in eosinophil, they inhibit the chemotaxis, interleukin 5 and eotaxin secretions. This is how the lipoxins in anti-inflammatory effects of aspirin plays important role. Or you can say that this show the synergistic effect. Now this figure depicts the effect of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents on platelet endothelial interaction, how the G protein coupled mechanism leads to vasoconstriction and vasodilatation, and how these effects get blocked by non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents. Specific COX-2 inhibitors, they basically inhibit the second messenger system induced vasodilatation, and also the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents which are non-selective and low doses of aspirin, they inhibit the platelet aggregation as well as the G protein coupled derived second messenger system vasodilatation. Now, as we were discussing in part 1 of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents, that aspirins, they have been used to reduce the mortality rate in cardio patients. So this is the data or graph which depicts the decreased mortality, decreased reduction, or the 50% decrease in the mortality rate with the use of aspirin and not with aspirin. There are two cases. One with the use of aspirin, the number of percentage of patients with the event, they have up to 2 years, they have shown the less mortality rate as compared to those which have not been treated with the use of aspirin, which is shown with the dotted line. The mortality rate is 17% higher in those patients which we have not given aspirin in addition. This graph depicts the uh, occurrence of myocardial infarction among the four type of groups basically. One with placebo, one with heparin and placebo, then another with placebo and aspirin, and last one with heparin and aspirin. If we see that first case, when we have not given any kind of blood thinner or anticoagulant, then the patient is on the higher side of risk in myocardial infarction and may lead to mortality or death. But when we use heparin, there is a little decrease in the mortality rate, but when we use aspirin with placebo, there is a huge difference between the resultant effect of aspirin with placebo and heparin with placebo. There is a marked significant decrease, around 5 to 8% of decrease in the mortality rate, which is a significant decrease. And again, in the fourth group, when we use in patients heparin as well as aspirin along with, then there is further decrease in the mortality rate. From the 15%, it get decreased down to around 3 to 4%. So there is marked decreased, around 12% of decreased in the mortality rate with the use of heparin as well as aspirin. So aspirin is gaining very much popularity among the patients with cardio diseases, so as to maintain the blood viscosity properly and not to coagulate it unnecessarily to lead to further type of ischemic heart diseases. Aspirin is not devoid of any side effect. However, it apart from GI bleeding and all, it also leads to the toxicity called salicylism. There are several symptoms related with the aspirin toxicity like salicylism, that is headache, tinnitus, dizziness, confusion, drowsiness, sweating, nausea, vomiting like feeling, marked imbalance between the acid bases level, hyperpyrexia, dehydration, and cardiovascular and respiratory collapse. And in severe cases, even it may lead to convulsions and death. Now, what about the toxicities treatment? We can treat the toxicity of aspirin by decreasing the absorption of aspirin with the use of activated charcoal, emetics, and gastric lavage, by enhancing the excretion of aspirin using iron trapping, by alkalizing the urine, forced diuresis, and hemodialysis. And also some supportive measures can be adopted like fluids, decrease in the body temperature, bicarbonate ions infusion, electrocytes, and glucose etc. can be used for supportive therapy. Now, other important drugs under this category are phenylbutazone, indomethacin, propionic acid, and acetaminophen. Phenylbutazone has additional uricosuric effect. It is used in the treatment of gout as well and in aplastic anemia. Indomethacin common side effects are gastric bleeding, ulceration, and CNS side effects are more common with indomethacin like headache, salivation, and dizziness. Propionic acid derivatives are better tolerated, however, they are different in pharmacokinetic profile with ibuprofen, fenprofen, naproxen, and are widely used for inflammatory joint diseases with very fewer side effects. So, propionic acid derivatives are more safer drugs. And acetaminophen, it differs in effect and adverse reactions from other agents. Main toxicity is with hepatitis due to toxic intermediates which depletes the glutathione synthesis. And it can be treated, this type of patients with having hepatitis due to toxic intermediate release are treated with N-acetylcysteine to counteract the effect. In a nutshell, we can have a look on the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug interactions. They have the interactions with anticoagulants. They displaces or they show the additive effect with anticoagulants. They increase the coagulation, anticoagulant activity via displacement, and thus affect the platelet function. With lithium, they inhibit the renal elimination and increases the level of lithium in the body. With antihypertensives, they may cause fluid retention and edema and decrease the antihypertensive effect, because they show the opposite effect as with antihypertensives, especially the diuretics. Now, to attempt to decrease the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory associated toxicity, researchers have introduced the nitro group in aspirin model to produce nitroaspirins. Like, this is the major central portion, is the central one is the major structure of aspirin, and nitration at one end leads to the generation of nitroaspirins. They have generated the two nitro compounds, NCX4016 and NCX4215, and they have been shown to decrease the toxicities associated with the aspirins. Now, this is how the nitro non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents poses the effect, and nitric oxide synthase, how they all are get blocked, how the interleukin production, inflammatory mediators, prostaglandin production, adhesion, chemotaxis behavior gets arrested with the use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents. Dotted line represents the arresting mode, and the solid line representing the stimulation mode of the pathway. This has been taken from the Trends in Pharmacological Sciences journal. You can also refer that journal for the more detail.
Thank
So
you.
this is it from non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents. I hope you have gained some important knowledge from the presentation. Stay tuned with us for our next presentation on the YouTube channel of Chameli Devi Institute of Pharmacy, Indore. Till then, thank you.